Hello, Care Partners. Teresa Youngstrom here. Excited to be with you today. Today, I'm bringing someone, a colleague, a friend, and just sometimes you come across somebody who is so cool and they have so much going on and they're moving in all different directions, but it's all so good and so interesting. And Brenda and I met a couple of years ago through a support group, and I got to tell you, she brings so much to the table that I knew I had to get her on here for you guys to hear about. She has a lot of wisdom, she has a lot of personal experience, and she's out there doing it between her job and her side gig of helping people. I'm going to tell you all about that. But there is a lot of support here. There's a lot of help here. And I needed to tap into that for you all because I need to keep bringing these great individuals who are out there sharing the message of what we can do to support and love on people dealing with and living with brain change, but they're caregivers, the care partners. You guys, you need so much support. And it wasn't comfortable for me in the beginning, caring for my mom. I get thrown out of the house. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. And I'm thinking there's got to be more support out there. And I'm scouring the internet looking for support. And I did find Teepa Snow, which was a great first. I mean, she was incredible when I left a big job to go learn, right? But it's so exciting to bring to you these amazing people like my friend Brenda Gurung, and I want to tell you all about her. So, Brenda Gurung, hers, is a credentialed dementia specialist. She specializes in behavioral expressions, communication, direct caregiving methods. She serves as the National Director of Memory Care Services for Kisco Senior Living. And in her free time, she leads Be Growth Dementia Education, providing educational content for caregivers. She serves on the National Association of Activities Professionals Education Council, has previously served 2 years on the Forbes Health Advisory Board, so cool, and in long-term volunteer community education for the Alzheimer's Association, as so many of us try and do, right? She is in Denver. She's a Denver 7 ABC Everyday Hero, also an organic gardener, which I love, and a bookkeeper. Will you help me welcome my friend and colleague, Brenda? Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Teresa. It
Yeah.
is lovely to be with you.
Well, it's such a treat for me. And, the more I look into what you do, it's amazing.
Oh,
And I really don't know how long, or I should say, what got you interested in dementia care? I don't think I know that detail about you.
yes, I'm happy to share, Teresa. So I started in senior living about 16 years ago, and I've always enjoyed being with people
Hmm.
in the tough spots.
Hmm.
And so I never intended to be in the dementia space.
I didn't
Uh,
either, right? I
exactly.
I didn't either until my mom
Yes.
threw me out of the house. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. And so for me, I was overwhelmed as a professional at the start. And then I learned some real practical, small, everyday tips, and that changed everything.
Okay.
And so once I got that, I was hooked. And I started to study more and more, earn a number of certifications. And I serve in my work, I serve in my business, I serve as a neighbor.
Yes. That's your personality, and I knew that from the first time I met you.
Ah, that's
Yeah,
so kind of you.
it's true. And very caring. Yeah,
Oh,
kind, caring, caring about other people and their feelings,
yes.
and yeah,
Yeah.
you're a considerate person. I knew it from the get go. What are particular methods that you share with families or professionals?
Yes. Let's talk about that.
Yes,
So you and I talked before we joined about the Montessori method.
yes,
Well, I'd also love to share about validation.
yes.
And then you and I share a background in Teepa Snow's positive approach to care. But
Hmm.
I'm sure you've shared that on other podcasts. So I'd love to
Yes,
just share those two, if that's okay.
yes, of course.
Excellent. So the Montessori method, I'm sure many of your listeners, care partners, may not know Montessori for aging, disability, and dementia, but they
Right.
probably know it for the little guys.
Yes.
So maybe 40 or so years ago, Dr. Cameron Camp, who's a researcher, he saw the Montessori principles of putting the child at the center, following the child, following their passions, helping them to be successful by setting up the environment. And so he saw the ability to modify that for aging, disability, and dementia. And
Got it.
so if nobody's ever heard anything about it, I would say two things. One, Montessori helps us to empower our person to do more for themselves.
Ah,
And I think when we say that, we hear that in a lot of other methods. How Montessori practices it a little different. We really set the space and we try to work with the abilities that are maintained. So especially muscle memory, long-term memory. And so often in the dementia journey, we talk about the loss of short-term memory, not always, but often.
right.
And so Montessori works off of this other memory that is maintained. And so that's kind of one category, how we can help someone to do more.
Right.
The other part is Dr. Montessori said, what you do for me, you take away from me. And
Mm.
so we always want to,
Say that again. That's so important. We need to hear that
yes,
again. Say it again.
yes.
Because so many of us make that mistake every day. Say
I
it
wouldn't
again.
even call it a mistake. It's just, we want
Well,
to help. We want to do
we want
for,
to help. Yes, we want to make it easier for them,
yes,
but it's crippling.
yes. So what I do for you, I take away from you. And so this causes me to flip how I interact with my person, whether it's my personal person, whether it's my, the person I serve through my work. It causes me to look at them as the center and me to say, I don't need to rush to help with the teeth or the setting up the meal, but how can I set the space so they can do more?
Oh, ideal.
Amazing.
Yes, absolutely amazing. And we all need to hear that. Yeah, because I think
Yes.
frequently as a care partner, I want to do for you. I want to make it easier for you. But again,
Yes.
it can be crippling. You're denying them things.
Mm.
And because, don't we all need purpose? I don't care who you are. We all need purpose. And when we rob them of that, and then, like you said, it isn't on purpose. It's frequently we're just trying to help.
Of course. I
Yes.
always want to help. I
Yes.
see you struggling with some packages. I want to pick them up.
I
But
do
if
too.
that is a sense of pride or purpose, or you say, damn it, I've always done this. I want to do this. I
Right.
honor you by helping you to do it.
Right. And what if they want to do it a different way?
Totally.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's not my place to say how you're going to do it, right?
Right. And isn't
And
that okay?
exactly.
Yeah.
Good.
But I think relaxing to the point of allowing the person to be the individual that you were talking about, whether it is the child with, the Montessori or the adult, the senior, allowing
Absolutely.
them to be an individual. I live on the rule of join them on the journey.
Yes.
And so what you're saying is so perfect.
I'm so glad, Teresa.
Yeah.
For
I
any of
love that.
you,
Go ahead.
for any of your professionals on the podcast, there's also some easy way to apply Montessori methods, whether it's in care delivery or engagement. And so if this were a podcast focus on that, we could also talk through some strategies.
Okay. We may have to do it again.
Perfect.
I know. And I would love that. Let me look. I have a wonderful list of questions here. Um, if a caregiver, personal or professional, is feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, it's such a popular topic. What's one thing they can do today, Brenda? What would you tell them to do today?
Yes. Caregiver, care partner, right now, how do you feel? How do you feel in your
Mhm.
body, with your person, in your space? I imagine many of you are like, up to
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So let's just put our feet on the ground, and just one deep breath
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
and out.
Can make all the difference in the world.
With my colleagues and families that I support, we'll often do simple breathing techniques, grounding techniques like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Taking a moment to just step out of the space. As long as my person is safe,
Yeah.
just sort of reset. And I think for so many care partners, we're just in it and it becomes too much. Sometimes we don't know how to ask for help, um, or what
Oh,
help
yeah.
is out there or what I can share.
All the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes we're just, no, 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 stop, 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 stop. Don't, up, up, up. And it's your poor person's like living like this, like,
Yeah.
gosh, do I breathe? Is that okay? You
Yeah.
know, but I've seen care partners just get tired. And when they come in, they see a mess. And I try and encourage them to address the person there
Yeah.
with your smile, with your calm, tone and body language, and let them know they're important and pay them a compliment first thing. Can we do that? Pay them a compliment. And, yeah, the house they've destroyed something, and they've gone through their desk again and papers are everywhere. But can we just breathe like Brenda suggested, and we can get to those things. But gosh, so important. We do have to provide tools for care partners all the time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally. I
yeah,
think sometimes care partners don't know what to ask or
right.
sometimes feel so overwhelmed or so lonely on their journey. And so sometimes it's just helpful to know that a person like Teresa, a person like some of my colleagues, like myself, sometimes it's enough just to have a care consultation, talk through
Yes,
what's going on and figure out a thing that helps you, like one
yes,
thing.
right. And they need tools in their tool belt. We need tools. This is a different animal. You know, Dementia isn't you do A and then B and C will happen. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
You
well put,
know?
Teresa.
Oh gosh, it's just so personalized. And oh, I love that. Okay, how about what if someone isn't able to do the things that they used to enjoy?
Yes, I love this,
Yes.
Teresa. So I will often hear from families of choice. I'll say, tell me about your person.
Right.
And they'll say, well, my aunt used to,
Yeah.
my dad used to, my spouse used to. And this is not a criticism. Of course, when we're in it, we see the struggles, the losses, the difficulties. There's something I call finding the root, which
Hmm.
is a way to look at, okay, what did my auntie used to enjoy? What can I pull from that she can still do? So
Good
sometimes it's as
point.
simple as if my auntie, like me, liked to do home improvement projects. And I say, oh, she built this whole table. She
Mhm.
rewired the house.
Yes.
And now she can't do that. But now, what can she do? Would she like to follow me and give me advice? Would she like to choose the paint swatches? Would she like
Yes.
to organize the toolbox? Like there's so many things that are at the root or the soul of the
Yes.
thing that she enjoyed
Yes.
that she can do now. And we do a lot
Yes.
of that within Montessori as well. So we talked a bit about Montessori
Oh yeah, I
before.
love this.
I hold a number of certifications
Yes.
and just that practical thing that I've always done that gives me a sense of purpose.
Yes. So valuable. So, so valuable. And sometimes asking them for help is a
Yes.
game changer.
Beautiful. I love that, Teresa.
Yeah. And it may not be the exact advice you wanted or needed, but we can still accept and agree and make them feel proud that, they were there to help. And those
Yes.
endorphins go for a while, don't they? So much better.
Excellent. I
Yeah.
love that,
So
Teresa.
much better than saying, well, you used to be able to do this, but oh
Mom, you're
boy.
not doing it right. Yeah.
That's right. You're not doing it right.
Yeah.
Blah. Let's try and remove that from our list of things to say and not say. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. That's so
And in
good. That's
any
so good.
example like that, there's no critique of a care partner. Of course, we've all said, Mom, or my person, like, of
Yes.
course we've done it. That's not a criticism. But if
Right.
we do lean in,
Yes. Oh, I really like that a lot. Um, let's see. If someone um, had just received the diagnosis of maybe Alzheimer's, Lewy, even the mild cognitive impairment, um, what would be your first advice to them?
it's not over.
Good.
So I think so often we get this diagnosis, we hear in society, or we had a person in our life when we were younger, or we see our neighbor and we think, oh, this is my sentence, right? I'm stuck on this path and there's nothing good.
Right.
But it is not over.
Mm-mm.
We wouldn't say that about a disability, or in some cases, another disability.
No.
We wouldn't say, oh my gosh, Teresa, oh,
Right.
it's kind of over.
Yeah.
There's still so much we can do, so much you can do to contribute, so much
Hmm.
you have to give. And so it, that would be the first thing I would say to an individual who's received a diagnosis.
Right. And aren't you finding that a lot of these situations, diagnosis,
Yes.
um, they can be 10, 15 years or more. And I spoke with a woman yesterday, and her husband has frontotemporal disease, and he's had symptoms since 2002,
Yes.
and he's still getting up and doing, you know, not like he could. He can't
Yes.
work anymore. There are things he can't do, but there are plenty of things he can do.
Exactly,
And
Teresa.
and he needs people around him to keep edifying him. Um, but I think there was one family member that just was not informed on how this all works. And I think they thought he's just milking it. But it's just because they don't understand how the disease works and how cordial his father can sound on the phone across the way, across the states. And
Yes.
so, can you elaborate on that?
I would love to, Teresa. Some of the practical insights I like to share with families of choice professionals, are some of the common changes within the dementia journey. And so whether we're talking about frontal temporal, like you said, or Lewy body, or corticobasal, whatever it is,
Hmm.
a mild cognitive impairment, which is not technically dementia, but it's also
That's
in
right.
that sphere. I
Yes.
think often we hear dementia, we think memory loss,
Yeah.
or we think aggressive, or we think, oh my gosh, my mom won't remember me.
Hmm.
But for me and the people I serve, I so often see the other impacts catch us off guard. So
Yes.
the impacted frontal lobe would be affect my decision making or
Yes.
my impulse control, right?
Yes.
So I see the thing, I want to eat the thing, even though
Hmm.
it's your thing.
That's
Uh,
right.
or you're assisting me in the shower and I don't understand and I feel attacked, and so I react.
Hmm.
Visual perception changes, ability to sequence, communication ability or understanding. I think all of those things, in my opinion, affect more of our day with our person than just the memory. And
Yes.
so sometimes it's helpful to just, even just a little bit of education, just something
Yes.
that helps us to get a better picture of what might be going on and what might be common to this specific disease journey.
Right. Right. And to not talk about the disease all the time.
Mhm.
I think that's a mistake that we make, or we do this. Brenda, this is my mom. She has Alzheimer's. and it's so labeling and
Yes.
it's condescending, but we don't know that. But
Totally.
how can we take that label out of their title? This is my
Ah,
sweet mama, you know. This is my sweet mama who I've been loving for 60 plus years or whatever it might be. How do we
exactly.
change it? Yeah.
Exactly. In this specifically talking about the introduction, I always loved, there's something from a dumb movie, and she
Yeah.
talks about how to introduce people at a party in a way that gets them interested to connect.
Okay.
And so, you wouldn't say, oh, this is Brenda. She's struggling with depression or she has diabetes. Like, we don't do
Exactly.
that. It's mortifying.
Yes.
You would say, this is Brenda. She loves bees. She's a beekeeper. You,
Yes.
you give a thing to connect.
You said beekeeper. I introduced you as a bookkeeper.
Oh,
That
whichever. They're
is
the same
so
thing, right?
well. Well, a beekeeper is a little bit different than a bookkeeper. Okay, that'll be for another conversation. But that was funny. I just realized that little bite of humble pie there. Uh,
It's
thank you.
okay.
That was funny, but I just connected the dots there with beekeeper. All right, I should have had my glasses on. All right, fair enough. Okay,
We join our
let's.
journeys.
Oh my gosh. All right, what type of support is available to caregivers who aren't sure where to go, what to ask, what to do?
Yes. I'm going to highlight maybe three things. There are 1,000 support options out there
There
at
are.
different financial abilities as well.
Yes.
But I want to highlight three. Work that you do, that many of our network and our national group do,
Right.
something called care consultation.
Oh
And so
boy.
that's where a professional who is credentialed in whatever way they are, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to meet with you in person or virtually, and they're going to talk through your thing and
Right.
give you specific recommendations based on what you're experiencing or what is hard. I'm sure family or family of choice caregivers on the line, you're probably thinking, I have this many things that I'm
Yes.
struggling with. But we can also help to identify what is most critical right now.
Yeah.
So that's one idea. Another idea are uh, temporary support programs. So, like an adult day program,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a program to go to the museum for people who are on a dementia journey, a home care that comes in to support. Those
Mm-hmm.
sorts of things that tend to be temporary in nature, but get you almost like a practice for more support.
Yes.
Um, because it's not just the act of getting help. It's like, how do I get help and how am I comfortable with that? So
Yeah.
that's another thing. And then, of
Yes.
course, I work in senior living. I love senior living.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Nobody I've ever met says, oh my gosh, Teresa, I want to move to a community.
Yes.
Um, but there are amazing communities out there, and
Yes,
each
there
one
are.
has its own character, and
Mm-hmm.
one would likely be meaningful to you or your
Yeah.
person.
Right.
And so that's an option.
Yeah. And you definitely need to go check out those places. And I say, walk
Exactly.
through, sniff, smell, listen, smell, check it out. And really, really give it a look see. Maybe visit at different times of the day.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
And
think that's all
definitely
fair.
easier to visit before you need it. So
Oh,
kind of
yes.
test out, uh, maybe I'm interested in, I think maybe in the future someday, or I don't want to, I'm going to check now just to know kind of what I like or what's out there or what might be helpful that I don't even know about.
Right. Because don't you think knowing the plan B is so important? Because we watch this happen all the time. Mom's taking great care of dad and things seem to be hunky dory, doing great. Mom has a stroke. And then we're finding ourselves in a scramble. So the thing is, plan B may never happen, but at least to have your place be on the list. The good places have lists. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Good.
Go out and check
Good.
out those places. Oh my gosh, the time's flying by. What brings you joy in your work? A lot of things
Teresa.
I can tell. I know because you're a joyful person. But what brings you joy in your work?
I am so honored that as my work has grown, I still get to be with individuals.
Isn't that cool?
Yes. So almost every week, every other week or so, I get to serve in communities or with families or as a volunteer, and especially get to connect with that person who's on the journey themselves. And I get the best compliments, the best stories, the best advice, uh, and for people throughout their journey, people at the early stage, people at the late end, where often others will think, gosh, that person isn't able to verbally communicate. What can they contribute? So much. And I'm so grateful. My colleagues and I talk about this being sacred work.
Yeah.
And for any professional on the line today, you stick in it. You are
Yes.
needed. It is sacred. Thank you,
It
Teresa.
is. Oh, I could not agree more. I could not agree more. Yeah, bringing those people joy just really recharges my batteries, to be in there and do it again. Whether
Yes.
that's caring for your person, or whether that is you educating families on how to care for their person.
Beautiful.
Stay in it. There's a great need. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that was really, really good. One last thing, because I got to wrap up, but what is something you've learned from an individual on their dementia journey? I only have a couple minutes that I
Yes.
just need to know.
Listen to the heart, not the words, not the details, not Tuesday, not the dress is blue, not periwinkle. Listen to the heart and stay
Yes.
connected.
Listen to the heart. I love that. That's a great theme to have. Listen to the heart. Yeah.
Glad.
Yeah. And then
This has
you'll be
been
on the right
lovely.
track. You know you'll be serving their needs well.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Brenda, this is so great. You guys, Brenda is so wonderful and there's so much more to her. You ought to see the list of initials behind her name. The credentials are incredible, but that's who she is. She is just a wealth of information, knowledge, but you can see her heart, and her heart is just full of joy to share with these individuals who are struggling with a brain failure. And, it could happen to any of us. So if you need to know about Brenda, well, Brenda, just tell them and then I'll put it in the show notes. But if someone needs more information from you, they want to get a hold of you. They want what
Mhm.
you have to offer, which would be great. How do they get a hold of Brenda?
Sure. We'll put in the show notes. I have a tiny dementia education business, and I do that as really as a service to share out education. And then my work, I serve for Kisco Senior Living. And so we'll get that in the notes.
Yep. And she's a beekeeper, not a
And a
bookkeeper.
beekeeper.
Just
That would
saying.
be ridiculous.
That's right. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Brenda. This has been such a treat. Oh
Thank you,
my goodness.
Teresa.
Thank you. It's
Lovely.
been my pleasure. Well, everybody, what a great day. Went fast, didn't it? I know it always does. We got these excellent people coming on. We'll have to have Brenda on at another time because like I said, she just has a wealth of information, knowledge, and just a heart that you can just feel as soon as you start talking with her. All right, everybody. As always, keep in mind this is Teresa with a better approach to memory care. Memory care with Teresa Youngstrom. And I believe that you got this.